Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The roster drama continues last night. Vegas Falcons officially making another change here in the CDL, but also Scump responding to the major situation at OpTic that's unfolded over the last few days, saying that Scump is not involved in the decision-making process behind the scenes. He was as surprised as many of us when he heard behind the scenes that Hook was getting removed from Pred. He gives his perspective as well on the situation, whether it's the right move for OpTic going forwards if they want to replicate their success towards the end of last year. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I really appreciate it. Dashy having a good time, it seems, at the Mavs game last night. This, though, we're going to dive straight in, was the Vegas Falcons. And as we can tell here by the Arabic, we have Roxas mentioned, we have Wixel mentioned, and we have Kicks mentioned. And, well, this is, and then we have Major One mentioned, it said as well, but this is the full explanation from the Vegas Falcons as to what they're going to be doing, and this is what it says. So, I mean, they're making another change. I don't exactly know what the situation is with Falcons getting scrims. I think Ace said last night on the show that they are getting scrims again. It's just not maybe as many as they used to be getting before. And at the major on LAN, they weren't really getting the practice. But online, it seems that that whole, teams won't scrim them situation is to some degree being resolved. But part of that reason, probably, at least if I was a pro team, would be they keep making changes every other week, and they're doing it again. So, Roxas is gone. It's been a good run. Of course, he was part of that original team with King of Body, Roxas, Xnid, and Kicks. That feels like a long time ago, although it's only like a month and a bit ago, it seems, at this point. But, so Roxas is now gone. Look, I think Roxas, did he play for the win? I think he tried. Could he shoot straight? Often, unfortunately, a lot of the time, not really. So, wish him the best. He actually, I ran into him in Madrid. He seems like a really sound guy, and he wanted to meet Ace because they kind of look similar. So, he seems like a great guy. Unfortunately, it just wasn't really working in the server. So, they decided he's going to go, which is an interesting decision because Wixel, he did play a couple of series, and in one of the series, he actually had a really good KD. I think we'll try and find him real quick here, actually. So, I think Wixel did drop. He played a couple of series in the year. Here he is. So he had a 0.98 overall, and he played one specific series. It was against Vancouver, when he had a 1.27. But they lost, obviously. So, I know that maybe Clayster was watching that series probably saying, what was this brother doing on the map? And, there was a general feeling that maybe he was playing for kills a little bit. They ended up dropping him to the bench, and now he's back. So it's like, it's a complete mess, obviously. But Wixel's back in. Roxas is gone. I guess they felt that Roxas just wasn't slaying enough, certainly at this point in the year. Let's not forget as well, Falcons have won a grand total of 0 hardpoint maps. Like, they were 0-13 this stage in hardpoint, 1-8 in control, 3-6 in their search and destroys. But, when will they win a hardpoint? Will they win a hardpoint? And, Roxas was putting up a 0.77 in that mode during stage 1. So, I get it, right? They've decided to make a call. Roxas is gone. Wixel is back in. And he will join King on the team, as I always end up clarifying. Not King of Body, but King that they currently have in. Maybe it's time for the King of Body return at some point. I don't know, given all the changes they've made. So it's now going to be Dahoom, Xnid, Wixel, and King. That's your new team of 4. They've not tried this quartet before. How's it going to do? Probably not very well. The big news, I guess, is around Kicks, right? Because he played 4 matches at the start of the season. He looked pretty good. He certainly looked like the most promising player in the majority of those. Xnid, of course, has also had his moments, notably that, insane 52 bomb on Vault against OpTic, right? In that hardpoint. But, in terms of the highest upside that we've seen, it was probably from Kicks. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like, as it stands, anything's gonna, come from that, as they say. We know many are wondering about him. Unfortunately, he remains indefinitely out. Our full support remains with him as he focuses on what he needs, and his place in the Falcons family will always be here when the time comes. So, they're very clear that when he's ready, hopefully he's ready, if he's ready, we don't really know what's going on there, he will be back. This, I thought, was another just interesting quotation. As they say, we continue to strive to find the best roster with the players available to us. So part of that is like Kicks isn't available, but equally, the way that I read that is that they're kind of looking at their bench, they're looking at their starting team, and they're saying like, oh dear, we're a little bit thin on the ground in terms of talent right now. So I definitely think there is merit to the discussion that at some point relatively soon, Falcons will try and make the players available to them significantly stronger, i.e., potentially start to try and sign somebody from another roster and make some serious moves. But Wixel's back in, Roxas is benched. Is it going to make that much difference? I mean, probably not. But if we look at the Falcons real quick and their upcoming games here, so their upcoming matches, they play Boston and Thieves this upcoming weekend. Neither of those are easy. But then again, are there any easy games in the CDL right now when you're Falcons? No. So anyway, that's their run. They don't play FaZe this stage. They don't play OpTic this stage. So I guess on some level, like, it could be worse. But they do play Thieves and Ultra and Ravens and, some pretty good teams in there as well. So that's the plan for the Falcons. Is it going to work? We'll see, I guess, in due course. We also have some other Lineman cards, some, prettier ones, really. This is FaZe. They won the tournament. Simp got the MVP. Should he have done? It's a question. I think, honestly, look, these are overall cards from the entire stage. So it's not just the major. And, of course, the MVP of the major is from the major only. It even could have been Drazah just at the major. I think that was arguable. Could have been Cellium as well. aBeZy was also good. I think given his performance at the major and Simp's performance, it probably was going to be Simp. I think the standout things for me to mention here really are just the search and destroy numbers. It's actually ludicrous how good their search was, and that was the critical reason why they won the tournament, right? I mean, Thieves were better than them in hardpoint. Control was kind of, either way, really. But it was the search and destroys, certainly in the grand finals, that got FaZe over the line. I mean, they basically Neslo'd the best of 7 finals. They were 14-7 this stage in search, the same win-loss ratio as Ravens had. So basically, those were the 2 best search and destroy teams in the game, but their hardpoint record was much better than Ravens, and their control was actually only 9-7, but I expect that to get better because, Cellium put up a purple kills per 10 performance and a purple KD. And Simp is always just unreal in control, at least in some points of the year. But look at these first blood numbers. Like, it's actually ludicrous, is it not? How aBeZy has 46 first bloods. But even then, Cellium at 23-11 first blood rate. Simp is 24-15, aBeZy's 46-30, and Drazah's 29-21. So, like, you add some of these numbers up here. I mean, what is that? 30, 41, 56, 77, right? So 77 deaths, and in terms of kills, what, 47, 46, 93 plus, oh my god, that's actually absurd. Comes to 122 with Drazah's numbers. So 122 first bloods to 77 or whatever it was, first deaths. Like, it's pretty absurd, actually, that kind of discrepancy there. And I guess also what's interesting about these cards is like the hill time and hardpoint. Most teams have different decisions in the way that who gets the hill. FaZe are very much aligned on that. Like, Simp has the most hill time on the team, 63 seconds. Cell has 60, aBeZy has 59, and Drazah has 56. So, those are actually very interesting numbers in terms of the way that FaZe approach hardpoint right now, that they pretty much split the load completely down the middle. So, yeah, intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comments below. It's actually not massively dissimilar in control as well. So that seems to be FaZe's respawn approach, and it seems to be working rather well. But let's talk about this whole Hook Pred situation, because it continues to be a talking point. One of the major ones to me is, okay, where's Hook gonna go? Because presumably someone's sliding into those DMs and he's going to slide back into the server presumably at some point soon as well. Scump was talking about it though in some detail, discussing how he heard about this whole thing unfolding, talking to Hector about it, hearing that it was a possibility, and then hearing that, yeah, this was actually going to become a thing. The question that Scump wants to kind of shut down though is, does Scump still make the calls over there? Because it wasn't long ago Scump was he the official substitute? Was he not? It's kind of a little bit unclear. But Scump is still involved in the team on some level, as in he talks to the team. But he's not involved on the level of making any of those decisions or really understanding what is going on over there. I'm sure Scump has his opinions, and sometimes those opinions may be voiced. But he's not the one calling the shots, and he wanted to make that very clear on the stream to say, look guys, I'm not the one making the decision to get rid of Hook here. That was Shotzzy. Okay, that's not what he said. But you know what I'm saying, right? That's the theory, that maybe Shotzzy was the one involved. Formal talked about it as well on stream the other day, saying that, yeah, Shotzzy was the man who made the call. But then Shotzzy came out and said, look, it wasn't like that. There's more to it than meets the eye. There were other things happening. And look, Shotzzy took a couple of days off streaming scrims or just streaming in general, probably to just, maybe cope a little bit with the situation, because it's obviously not been easy for him, I wouldn't imagine, when you're dropping one of your best friends to the sidelines having to do so again, it's a difficult time, I'm sure, for him. And Hook hasn't even said a word about this on social media yet, which I know is making some people think like, is Hook taking it kind of bad? And maybe he is, but equally, I think Hook understands the assignment, and it's probably helped his situation in general that he now has a higher stock going forwards. This is what Scump and Nadeshot have to say.
I feel like people still have this false sense that I'm pulling strings when it comes to the COD team and making these roster decisions and having a heavy hand in what's going on. And it's just not true. Okay? It's just not true. Again, I get told about shit, and it just kind of happens. So it's like, it's frustrating for me, because yesterday, like, people are coming in, they're cooking my shit. They're like, yo, how the fuck could you do this to Kyler? And I'm like, dude, first off, it's nothing but love for Kyler. At the end of the day, it's absolutely nothing but love for Kyler. That guy, great guy, came in, played great for us. But, dude, I genuinely found out the night before, and it was a question mark. Why did they bring him back? I don't know. Obviously, AG's a fucking great player. They won champs together. Maybe they figured shit out. I don't know. But yeah, I remember I was on the phone with Hector. We were talking about something completely unrelated. And then he brought that up, and I was like, holy shit. And I literally said to him, let me know how that goes. Didn't hear a word about how that went, and then it came out. I wish nothing but the best for Kyler. I think Kyler is an amazing player, an amazing person. Kyler's the fucking man. I mean, I walked in that team room when he was there for the first day. Smiles ear to ear. He's the man, bro. Came in, did his thing, but the team, if they think this is the better way to go, then they think it's the better way to go. At the end of the day, they won champs together, man. You know what I'm saying? They won fucking champs together.
I'm happy for Pred, bro. And I'm happy for the boys on OpTic. Look, bro, they know they can win with that roster. They've done it in a past game. And I understand why they did it. I think people are really pressed on them moving away from Hook because they think he played the best at the event. Bro, sometimes combinations of players, like, just don't work well, man. And if they think that they'll be better with Pred, then all power to them, bro. It's a bummer for fucking Hook, but I think it makes a lot of sense from just a confidence perspective. Just have the same confidence they had at champs and the event they won together. I get it. I really do. I know some fans are probably angry, but you might have the roster that you think is the right roster on paper, but if you're not working well together behind the scenes and in the comms, the way that you move on the map. I mean, sometimes, even though Hook played what people think is statistically the best, sometimes, like, the plays that they make on the mini-map and the things that they do make the other people on the team's jobs, like, harder. And I know that might sound fugazi, but every player, just by nature, has tendencies to play situations one way or the other. And maybe Pred being on the team is just the right fit for the way all the other boys on OpTic play the game.
I made my point on some depth on the Dope Check show last night, talking about similar things to this, what Nadeshot's talking about. And in my opinion, bringing in Hook was the decision that they felt like made the most sense at the time, and it was an understandable one. But I think there was probably a realization within OpTic in recent weeks anyway, even probably before the major, that if things didn't really go to plan, that they would look to get Pred back into the lineup. That's what they've done. That's what they've executed on. And I think it does make a fair bit of sense from a few angles. But, intuit your thoughts in the comments below. I know there's some concern from OpTic fans that, are they going to be able to get the old spark back? Is the old magic going to return again? Because it's not like OpTic were incredibly consistent online last year. They did have their issues, especially in Search and Destroy. And I feel like for OpTic, they play FaZe and then Rocker this upcoming weekends. If their Search, and we know that Kenny and maybe Pred online in Search aren't exactly going to be the strongest, isn't great, they could be at some degree of danger there potentially. Certainly the FaZe series, they're not expected to win by any means. But equally, compared to recent OpTic seasons, last year, with the exception of Major 4, which was a complete shambles start to finish, they were pretty damn consistent last year OpTic in terms of LAN placings. Like, their LAN placings last year, excluding the 12th at Major 4, were 3rd, 2nd, 1st, and 1st. And then, I guess, 4th at EWC, right? But, like, every event apart from Major 4 was, like, good, which is usually better than what OpTic have done previously. So I think, trading maybe a little bit of upside at times with Hook for what they think is going to bring more consistent success, I think it's a sensible move. We'll see if it pays dividends for them in the long haul, to be fair. But in Twitter, your thoughts as ever in the comment section below. And just one final thing, thought this is really cool. So Raphael, who owns or founded or whatever the Rafa Racing Club that Kremp races for. It was his 40th birthday party, and it looks a pretty good evening. I'm not gonna lie, looking at some of these shots, looks like it was a pretty good time. But this guy's obviously balling. I thought it's a sensational shot here, really. And I thought this one was actually an amazing image here of Kremp. Just goes to show, obviously, with Kremp working very hard on his like physical and mental health over the last couple of years, going into the racing world, like, you know, how good does Kremp look here? Like, sensational shot. I know that people were, you know, gassing him up basically, but I thought it was nice to see Kremp thriving and doing his thing, because, you know, there's not many COD players that have had a story like this after their retirement. So remember to tweet your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.